Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Life Coach University and the wonderful world of Pay It Forward. This is one of those Pay It Forward talks, and we just want to thank you all so much for joining us, for being part of this mission of ours. And if you're inspired by this talk or any of the other things that we put on, then please pay the kindness forward and then share that story with us by emailing us at hello@lifecoachuniversity.com. My name is Chris Wells, and I am a life coach. And if you have any interest in connecting with me, if you want to chat, you want to talk, the best way to get a hold of me is on LinkedIn. And you can find me under my name there, CHRIS. Last name is WEALS. I'd love to connect with you and chat with you. So again, thank you so much for being with me here and listening. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, concern, then please post that in the chat, in the Q&A. You can do that. And I will answer your questions. I'll respond to you. So today we are talking about patience and persistence. And both of these are really important because, well, life can be really challenging. And especially if you're on a growth path, if you're on this journey to grow, to be more, do more, have more in your life, which is a wonderful path to be on, that could be incredibly challenging. It can be incredibly difficult. And it's not just a straight line path of progress, of growth, right? It's kind of a loop-de-loop roller coaster ride. And hopefully that trend is going upward instead of a plummeting loop-de-loop roller coaster ride. So the whole idea is to have that upward trending, non-linear progress because it's just not realistic to have that straight line growth. But I think what happens is when we have any kind of setback, if we fall off the work that we're doing just because we're exhausted or not feeling well, or we just don't feel like it today, then what can happen is we get really hard on ourselves. We become really upset with ourselves. We beat ourselves up in our own mind because, hey, we should be doing the work. I should have meditated today. I should have done yoga and I didn't. What's wrong with me? See, I'm never going to make this a habit, a way of living. Forget it. Or say you are doing the work and you hit a plateau and you feel like maybe you're not making the progress that you want to be making, or you're not seeing the results yet that you want to see. And so you might get frustrated with the work itself, with the path that you're on, thinking maybe it's not working. And so you quit. And, quitting is the one way to guarantee that you're not going to get what you want. And so that's where the persistence comes in, but also the patience. Be patient with the work. It's really important to be patient with yourself as you're going through this, because you're growing, you're learning. It's like a young toddler learning how to walk. It doesn't seem reasonable to be impatient with a very young child learning how to walk for the first time. And that's all any of us are, is children learning how to walk through life. And it's, I don't mean that literally. I'm speaking metaphorically. Everything we're doing for the first time. We're learning how. So yeah, we're going to stumble, we're going to fall, but the only failure is not getting back up. It's quitting on yourself in the long run, right? You might have a day, and it's okay to have a day where you don't want to do the work, where you don't want to work on yourself, you don't want to, whatever it is, your affirmations, visualizations, working on your goals, your plans, your purpose, your positive self-talk, whatever it is that you're focused on doing, maybe it's exercising or eating well. It's okay. That's why it's so important to be patient with yourself and forgiving, to know that, yeah, you're going to have those days, and it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of your path or your progress or your growth or your success. Just allow yourself. So acceptance is part of this. Just know that, hey, some days it's just going to be too hard. It's going to be too difficult for me to do what I need to do just because of where I'm at mentally, or maybe something happened. Maybe you're dealing with an extra stressful situation. Maybe you're grieving the loss of something or someone you loved. And we need downtime. We all need downtime, regardless of what's going on in our lives. We can't just be charging onward and upward all the time. That's not how life works. Life is very cyclical, and it's so important to accept that. So when you're having a down day, don't make it a problem. Don't make it worse than what it is. It's just rest. You need a break. And if you don't take breaks, if we don't all schedule in downtime, our body's going to schedule it in for us. We're going to get sick. We're going to get injured. Something's going to happen that makes us take that downtime. So it's important to schedule it in. We need to rest. We need to recharge. We need to recover. We need to spend some time alone, just in nature, reflecting, unwinding, taking some of the pressure off, but then get back to it, right? Take the rest that you need, but get back to the work. And also, I think there's this idea, I think a lot of us have this idea that, what we're going to get to this point where we don't have to do any more of the work because we've figured it out, we've mastered it. Now, I'm going to feel good for the rest of my life, and I'm going to have whatever form of success I want to have, material, relationships, whatever. I'm going to have that just locked in because I've made it, right? But that idea is dangerous. That idea will make it so you stop doing the work, and then you're not going to have the progress. Life is all about progress. It's about growth. There is no magic thing that's ever going to come along that means you've made it and you don't need to do the work anymore. So I think it's really important to to accept that idea, that the journey that you're on, if you're on a growth journey, which I imagine you are, if you're listening to me right now, then you're focused on developing yourself as a human being, and you are concerned with growing and being happier, more joyful, more loving, more compassionate, more successful. And so it's important to accept that this is a lifelong process. It's not something that you do once and you're done. It's the same with physical fitness. If you want to be fit for the rest of your life, you have to work out for the rest of your life. You have to eat well for the rest of your life. And the reason people get old and rigid and out of shape and all of that isn't, it's because they stop working, right? Like, they don't stop working out because they got old. They get old because they stop working out. Like, that's something I heard recently, and I really like that. I think that makes a lot of sense. There are plenty of people in their 80s, 90s, and beyond who still move, and they still keep themselves in good shape, and they've accepted the fact that it takes lifelong work. I have my grandfather as an example. He went to the gym well into his 90s. He continued to develop his mind. He wrote books. He published his last book at 99, or maybe even at 100 years old. And he stayed sharp. He stayed witty and funny and very present because he never stopped working at it. I think a lot of us get to a point where we feel tired and burned out. We don't want to do it anymore. And so we quit doing the work, and then our muscles start to atrophy, and we get lazier and more depressed, and we have regression. When you stop doing the work, you regress. So not only will your progress stop, but you'll actually lose some of that progress, just like with your muscles. If you stop lifting weights, at first, like you're just not going to grow stronger anymore, but eventually you're going to grow weaker. You're going to lose muscle because you're not exercising it. It's the same thing with our minds, with our spirituality. We need to constantly be exercising all of that. All right, I have a comment here. It looks like a question, and so I'm going to read that. It says, I do rush ahead. I make mistakes. The next time I try to go slower, but there is a feeling of boredom and losing interest. The worst is comparing myself to others. They get it faster than me. How do I stop the comparison? Oh yeah, the comparison is a joy killer for sure. It's if we're comparing ourselves to others, then we're going to feel bad about ourselves, because we're always comparing our whole person to the best of other people. So we're looking at something that we want, we envy, and so we compare our whole being to this one aspect of another person and go, why can't I be more like them? They're so this, they're so that, and I'm not, right? And so just remember that by comparing yourself to other people, you're hurting yourself, and that you're not, it's not even a fair comparison. You're not making a fair comparison. Everyone has their own issues. Everyone. If you're alive and breathing right now, you have some form of insecurity or area of your life where you wish you could do better, right? And no one is escaping that, right? And so just remember that by comparing yourself to others, you're hurting yourself, and that there's no need, right? We're all on our own path, and just stay to your path, right? Let other people worry about their path. And if they're comparing, if they're rubbing something in your face, that's because of their insecurities. It has nothing to do with you. And just know that we are all in this together, whether you believe that or not, whether they think it or not, whether they're acting that way or not. We are in this together. We all have our insecurities and our issues that we're facing. We all have challenges in life. And so just keep your focus inward and do the work, and be patient with yourself, be forgiving, be understanding, be patient with other people also, because that's better for you. It's better for them too, but being patient with others helps you on your path and your journey. I have another message here. Inspiring that your grandfather wrote a book at 99. That is really super inspiring. That means I still have 50 years left to write a book. Absolutely. There are a ton of examples out there of people who did amazing things late in life, people who were maybe not successful until their 50s or 60s or even later in life. So no matter how old you are, it's not too late, right? So just just keep going. You got 50 years. It's a long time. You can get a lot done in that amount of time. You could write 50 books between now and 99. All right, I find it difficult when someone is not patient with me. I feel like it's unfair. I'm patient with them, but they seem to step all over me. What's the way to get people to treat me with patience? Well, you can't. You can't control how other people treat you. So again, you have to go within. You have to be patient with their impatience. You can only control what you can control, and that's you. You can control your thoughts. You can control your actions. You can control what you say, right? And all of that affects how you feel. And that influences other people, right? But you just can't control them. So you can influence them, and you can talk to them. You can ask for their patience and do it in a kind and loving, respectful way. But you can't control whether or not they're going to be patient with you. You can't guarantee that. And so having boundaries in place is really helpful. And boundaries are about you, not about them. So have it in your mind in advance. So you can do this today. You can think, okay, if somebody isn't patient with me, then I'm going to ask them to be patient. If they continue to be impatient, then I'm going to do this, or I'm going to think this. I know it's not about me, it's about them. And I'm going to do what I can. And that's what I'm going to tell them. Right. Because it might be somebody at work, maybe it's your boss, and maybe you can't just ignore them. So it depends on who the person is and what the situation is, but you have to focus on your response, right? So focus on your mental response, your physical response, your verbal response, keeping your ideal result in mind. What outcome do you ultimately want to have? How do you want to feel? What do you want to get out of that situation? And then control what you can control to make that happen. And then don't even worry too much about the result, because it might not be the result that you want. So then you go through the process again. If you get a certain result and it's not ideal, then you have to go through it again. Now, what can I do about it? Now, it's important to view all of these different situations in life as calmly and creatively and logically as possible, without letting the negative emotions run the show. I'm not saying ignore the negative emotions or resist them or suppress them or numb them with substances, but don't let them run you, because then you're losing the power that you do have. When we're overrun by negative emotions, it's way more difficult to be creative. It's more difficult to be calm and intelligent because of where the blood is flowing when we're upset. And so pay attention to the negative feelings and then use it as a signal. But then do an exercise to help yourself calm down before moving forward. So notice the negative feeling. So maybe you're feeling frustrated, feeling like it's not fair, you're being treated unfairly. That makes you angry or some form of upset. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing that we have these negative feelings to help guide us, because it's telling you, hey, something's off. I don't like something about this situation. And now, instead of staying angry, because at this point, what you're doing is you're just hurting yourself. It's like touching a hot stove. You get that pain signal, which is telling you something's wrong. You need to move your hand, or serious damage will be done. So you move your hand. If you leave your hand on the hot stove, serious damage will be done. You're going to severely burn yourself. And it's the same thing with a negative emotion. The negative emotion is a signal, is telling you something's wrong. Let's do something about this. But if you stay angry, if you stay upset, now you're leaving your hand on that stove and you're going to do internal damage by staying angry, frustrated, stressed out. And so use that signal to guide you to as input. So now you think, okay, that made me angry. What was it about that I didn't like? What can I do about it? What are my options here? So try to take an objective approach as possible, and think through it. Or what can I do? And then you do what you think you can do, and then observe, evaluate, notice the results that you get. Did that person respond the way I wanted them to? Did I have the experience that I wanted to? Did I get the outcome that I wanted to? If not, then go through the process again. Okay, well, what can I do differently? How can I change my thoughts, my words, my actions, so that I get closer to the result that I want? Or can I just let this go? Maybe it's not that important. And that's why it's important to know your intentions in advance. It's important to know your mission in life, your purpose, your values, so that you can weigh these decisions around these specific situations and events in your life against what you already know to be important to you. That's your mission, your purpose, your values, your intentions. And go, you know what? This isn't that. This isn't important. I'm going to just let this go. And then you're going to feel better. And you might think, okay, well, I hear you, but now I'm just letting people walk on me. I'm giving my power away. But it's actually the opposite is true. Because if you stay mad, if you stay upset at somebody, then you're giving your power to them. They have power over you because you're staying upset over something that they did. They're not still doing it, and they've probably moved on. And so by you staying angry, you're only hurting yourself, and you're probably hurting your relationship with that person also. And so it's actually a power move to let things go, to forgive people, to be patient with them, and to keep your cool, right? It doesn't mean you have to accept everything that they do, right? Like, you can absolutely want to change it. You can want a different experience. You can, but remember, it's all about what you're doing, and how you're thinking and how you're feeling and what you're saying, right? And keep that in mind as you're dealing with these situations. All right, I have another comment here. I've been back and forth to smoking cigarettes. My partner has been supportive, but now she seems to be demanding about it. Part of me thinks she has met someone else and is using my smoking as an excuse to leave me. I'm trying to be calm and patient about it when she says she's done waiting for me to quit smoking. It's hard because when she gets upset at me, all I want to do is go and have a smoke. Yeah, that's a tough situation. Addictions are one of those things that are challenging in life. And this, and I obviously don't know if your partner is cheating on you or not, or what is going on in her mind or his mind. I see you said she, so her mind. All I have is what you're telling me here, but I think smoking is one of those things that could drive someone to leave, just from experiences that I've been around. I've seen people be that upset over it in my life, and so this has to be something that you make a decision about for yourself. Do you want to quit smoking? And if you don't, are you willing to accept the consequences, right? Every decision that we make in life, every action that we take, it has consequences. So if you don't want to quit, then think about the potential consequences. Think about your partner potentially leaving you over it, because it could be that big of a deal to her. And so then you have to decide, do I want to keep smoking and possibly lose her? And you can't you can't quit for somebody else, right? That you got to do it for you, thinking about what you want, your intentions, your values, your purpose, your mission, what really matters most to you, right? So if quitting smoking is something that you want to do, then you have to make that decision and you have to commit to it and know that it's not going to be easy necessarily. You know, it's probably not going to be easy. And so be open to the idea that this is going to take work. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to experience pain. And it's okay. You can handle that. You can handle that pain. You can handle that discomfort. You can handle the fear, right? This is something that you can do. You have to decide that it's something that you're going to do. You have to commit to that. And then you have to do what you have to do to see it through to. And so you have to be patient with the process, be patient with yourself as you're going through it, and get as much help as you need. You know, if you try one thing and it doesn't work, try something else. Don't give up on this. Decide and commit, persevere, persist, keep going. Anything worth doing is worth persevering, persisting, keep going. What's the opposite of persistence? That's another question that just came up. Quitting is the opposite, right? And so that's the only way to guarantee failure is by quitting. I think we all learn in school that failure is something to avoid. It's this horrible thing. And so we don't even try stuff because we're so afraid to fail. But in reality, the only failure is when you quit something that is still a goal of yours, something that is still a dream of yours. And so you go, well, what about when I try and it doesn't work? Isn't that a failure? It's not. Maybe it's a setback, but it's definitely feedback. And it's always an opportunity for you to learn and grow and try again. That's the thing. It's not a failure because you can keep trying. And so I think any successful person will tell you they had failures along the way. They continue to have failures. And those failures are nothing more than feedback and opportunities to grow, to make adjustments, to get even closer to success. So whatever it is that you're working on, your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, your relationships, your success in life, and in whatever area, keep going. As long as these things are still your goals, these are still your dreams, this is still something you want to do, keep going. Don't give up, because that's the only real failure. If, however, things change and it's no longer your goal, it's no longer your mission or your dream, then by all means quit. And that's no failure at all. It's not something that you care about anymore. It's not a value. It's not part of your mission anymore. So let it go. I think a lot of times we have a hard time doing that because we identify with whatever things, like we attach our identity to whatever it is we were working on. And so even if it's something we don't want anymore, it's scary, it's painful, it's uncomfortable to give up, because to the ego, that's death. The ego says, wait, that's who I am, that's who we are. Without that, who am I? No one, I'm dead. And so you go, wow, yeah, that's really scary. I'm not going to quit that. But you have to bring presence, mindfulness to these situations and go, wait a minute, is that actual death? Is it something I can't handle? No, I can handle that discomfort. I can handle that pain. That's not who I am, that thing. I'm way more than that. And it's not even something I want to be associated with anymore. So I see you, ego. I got you. And I understand you're just trying to keep us safe, but we're good. We can handle this. And then you start making the change. But again, Change is difficult. It's scary. Your subconscious mind, your ego will offer up all kinds of resistance all along the way. That will never stop. So just don't give in to it. Don't quit. Don't beat yourself up. Don't be so hard on yourself. And understand that everyone else is on their own path also. Right. And so be patient with them because they're just learning how to walk too. Like give them that grace, give yourself that grace as well. Like I'm on this path. For the past 30 years, I've been dealing with depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, guilt, grief, shame, all sorts of things from past traumas in my life. So I get how difficult that it can be. And it hasn't been a straight shot for me. It's not linear. To this day, I'm not perfectly joyful, at peace, calm. I don't do the work that I know is good for me every single day. I do it most days. I'm pretty good about sticking with it, and it's helpful. But I still have my moments where I'm tired and I'm cranky, and I am not a pleasant person to be around. And I sometimes get depressed. I sometimes get anxious. But one thing I'm doing a much better job of is being patient with myself, being forgiving, being understanding, not spiraling as long. And I come back to the tools, I come back to the practice, to the progress, to the path. I get back on course and I get back to that upward trend. I have made a ton of progress. And I suffered pretty heavily in my 20s and part of my 30s from these things I mentioned: depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, all of these things. And I have made a lot of progress, and I have a lot of progress left to make, and we all do. And I'm going to keep working on it. And I'm over time, I've started to enjoy the process more. I'm at a place now where I feel so grateful. I have so much joy and love in my heart because it's not just about the end goal anymore. And I'm realizing and I'm accepting that it's going to be work for the rest of my life. And I'm starting to love the work. I'm starting to really love the process. That's something that Kobe Bryant, the NBA basketball star, said something to that effect, right? It's not enough to want that result. You have to love the process. So that's something I'm going to leave you with: is learn to love the process, because that's 99.99% of it. The result is just a little fleeting moment. It's just 1 second, and then you're on to the next thing. And so you have to love the process, because the process is life. And so you have to choose to love it, love yourself. And that's going to help you stay the course. It's going to help you with your patience. It's going to help you with your persistence, with your perseverance. It's going to help you feel better more often than not. So yeah, learn to love the process, which is the same as loving yourself and loving life. All right. Thank you all so much. Let me know if you have any more questions. You can always email those to hello@lifecoachuniversity.com. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. That's Chris Weals, Weals. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you have, connect with you, chat with you. Again, thank you so much for being here. You've joined me through Life Coach University and the Pay It Forward program. I have really enjoyed speaking with you here today. I love the topic, and I love your comments and your questions. And please make sure you go to lifecoachuniversity.com and check out all the other offerings we have. We have a full year of coaching coming up. So for 2023, there's a group of us that are going to be offering live group coaching sessions every day of the week. So we're all taking turns doing different days. But for you have an actual live group coaching session available to you every day of the week for the whole year of 2023 for only $20 US. So I think this is a tremendous value. This is a tremendous opportunity. I'm super excited about it. I hope that it's something that you see the value in and you want to sign up and join and come to these live coaching. You can just sit and listen and gain value from that, or you can actually get live coaching. You can come in, raise your hand, and get coached on something live every day of the week. There's so much power in that. There's so much value for $20 for the entire year. It's incredible. I'm so excited to be a part of this. All right. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate you joining me here and listening in and participating with your questions and comments. And I hope you have a wonderful new year. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much.